once you understand your value, you can discover those pain points. Once you understand fully what you can bring to the table, you getting paid and getting paid a little more from that. You know, there's a lot of value that you can bring to the table that'll allow you to make money and continue to travel. And people need to realize that.
Welcome to Travel Matters, the official podcast of TBEX. Here are your hosts, the radio vagabond, Palabo, and TBEX CEO, Rick Calvert.
This is Travel Matters. My name is Palabo and Rick Calvert. We're still here in Kalamata, Greece, and
in the Peloponnese region.
Peloponnese. And still in the networking area with yet another great guest and another great speaker, Chris Lau.
Yes.
Thanks for coming, Chris.
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Let's just start with you telling the listeners a little bit about who you are and why you were asked to be speaking here at TBEX.
Sure, yeah. My name is Christopher Lau. I've been a full-time YouTuber, photographer, content creator. I don't like the term influencer, but some people use that. I've been doing this for about 5 years, traveling as a full-time creator. I did solo travel at first, but then I ended up meeting my wife in my travels, had a baby, and now I've adapted all of my content the last 2-3 years to family travel.
I saw one of your videos in Thailand. You had your parents with you as well, and your baby and the wife.
Yeah.
Did I see grandparents too?
My wife's parents too. So yeah, that was an incredible experience. I was able to bring my parents out there. I invited them on some of my projects, so they stayed at some awesome places for free. We all did, just shooting content, and they had a good time.
And then a baby comes along and says, hey, where did you come from?
He showed up a couple of years later. But I do that full time. And I also run a mentor program. So the last 2 years, once COVID hit, a lot of content creators I realized was creating courses, right? I realized a lot of creator academies, courses online to teach people. And instead of a course, I realized that a course doesn't really help people escape the 9-to-5, right? A lot of people were marketing it, promoting it that way, which I don't think is the right way. And I felt like, everyone has a different level of success. They see things differently. And I wanted to create some type of a mentor program, a mentorship where I fully help people and walk them through essentially how to find brand deals, how to find the right decision makers, right proposals, understand their value and confidence, and land projects and brand deals.
Yeah.
How long had you been creating content, Chris, before you started pitching brands? Did you do it right away or?
Probably a year. I realized what I wanted to do. I stopped seeing all my friends. I stopped playing tennis. I used to play tennis religiously, but I stopped talking to them. I went back to a desk job after traveling the world after 4 months, finding out I fell in love with it. 11 months of the straight, I didn't see anyone, and I just bought a camera and just started learning how to edit, learning how to do this, fly drones, storytelling. And then immediately I was like, once I was able to build that type of a value, I started pitching a couple brands in California when I had no subscribers or anything. But I started working with brands right off the get-go, like right away, even being with no one, you could say. Never turned around since. I was able to build my confidence landing brands in California. I knew I could do it everywhere else in the world.
Your YouTube channel is called SeeLauTravel. So
S-E-E,
like
yep.
S-E-E, LauTravel. What makes your YouTube channel stand out? How is it different than other YouTube travel channels?
I think it's just fun, family. It's raw. It's very raw. It's engaging. The kids are fun. I hope everyone loves the kids, and everyone seems to love the kids, which is a good thing. And it's just raw and honest and fun, right? A lot of my videos isn't like, this is the best resort in Phuket, right? And I feel like I've gotten that compliment from marketing directors saying, hey, Chris, we love working with you because you don't just say this is the best. You point out the best of each place, the best of each location, and you show it. And you say the good things. You don't say this is the best, and like a lot of YouTubers do. So I feel like we're honest. I feel that's it.
I'm noticing that your YouTube channel looks different than other YouTube channels.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, was that intentional?
I guess a little bit, maybe a little bit, maybe not. Didn't really realize it looked a lot different, but yeah, I guess.
It stands out.
Are you traveling full time or do you have a base somewhere?
Yeah, our home base now in Michigan, right? We're staying with my parents until we find a house. But we just moved from Thailand to the U.S. about 4 months ago.
Okay.
Specifically for my kids to be near my grandparents, and education.
Right.
You were born in the U.S.
Yep.
Moved to Thailand.
Yep.
Now moving back to the U.S.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you specialize? Has your content been specialized up till now in Asia, or has it been all over the world? Or I see a Tulum video here, several Tulum, Cancun as well.
Yeah, I would get projects. It's also depending on some of the projects I go to. I'd get projects in Israel. I'd also stay out there longer, go to Jordan and do other projects. But, it's primarily Southeast Asia, a lot in the U.S. now, North America, and just random Morocco full videos and some random places that I would get projects to go to.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing travel matters with your friends and followers on social media. You're the best.
So this morning, your talk was understanding your value and working with brands.
Yep.
Do you think creators sometimes don't understand their value or undervalue themselves?
I think a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of creators out there, writers, travel vloggers, whatever you say. I think there's a lot of them that don't realize how much value they can bring to the table, right? This is what I tell a lot of my students. There's a lot of, let's start going with hotels. There's a lot of properties out there that need help in your work. Like I showed a statistic, 98% of the hotels out there are not a Four Seasons. They're not a Ritz-Carlton. They're going to be a 3-star, 4-star boutique property that need your help in some way. Maybe you're a graphic designer. Maybe you can design a better logo. Maybe you can do something on the back end that doesn't require you to have to post on social media. And once you understand your value, you can discover those pain points. Once you understand fully what you can bring to the table, even if it's utilizing a service like Fiverr, being that third-party person, the middleman, conversing with the owner, conversing with the Fiverr guy, delivering the work, the guy is happy, you getting paid and getting paid a little more from that. There's a lot of value that you can bring to the table that'll allow you to make money and continue to travel, and people need to realize that.
So you'd say your expertise goes beyond just creating video.
Sure, yeah.
You're doing a whole lot more for a brand that you're working with.
I feel like so, yeah, absolutely. It depends on what the brand wants, obviously, right? It depends on what the brand needs. Sometimes, and a lot of times, it doesn't require me to post on my social media, and that's when you don't need to have followers even at all to bring value and to get paid from a hotel or stay there for 2 weeks or 4 months even. So there's a lot of value that a lot of people can bring to the table. It's up to you to figure that out.
You said you had a desk job before this. Did you have any kind of sales or marketing background before?
10 plus years of sales, corporate and tech. I worked at companies for a couple of years. Like I worked at LinkedIn. A lot of that success from what I did at LinkedIn and Quicken Loans and Groupon, a lot of those successful sales business strategies, I put it into place today. I teach it to all my students, right? Finding the right decision makers, only pitching to decision makers, not just getting the info out on their website. There's a reason why the industry standard, the email open rates like 20, 30, 40% is because you're just emailing the info out like everyone else. But if you're able to find the right person, right? Write an incredible email, understand your value so you can write a value proposition instead of copying and pasting email templates like every other creator does and wondering why their open rate's so bad.
Yeah.
If you can actually do things a little bit differently and show that you're willing to spend time on these brands, they're going to be willing to spend time on you.
I think that you got an edge there because I think a lot of very talented content creators, they are doing great content, but horrible at selling.
Exactly.
I agree.
And I think I'm putting this out to you, Rick, that you should bring Lau back and do a session specifically on sales. Because I think that's something we all could learn a lot from.
I 100% agree. There's so many creators that they understand the creator part, but they don't understand the selling part, right? And as a creator, if you're going to be successful,
right,
you have to do it all. You have to create, you have to edit, you have to publish, you have to sell, you have to market, you have to community manage,
exactly.
You have to be the bookkeeper. I mean, it's a lot of skills that you have to be successful.
And the sad thing about that, though, also is a lot of the bigger creators who made it, they try to pretend they know it, right? I've seen a lot of these creators like, the best way to find these decision makers are on LinkedIn, which I worked at LinkedIn for a couple of years and it's not the best way, right?
Yeah.
It's not the best way, right? Here's a little tip. The common sales strategy is to get around the gatekeeper, maneuver past the gatekeeper. One of my small advice is use the gatekeeper as help, and they might be able to give you that piece of advice on who the decision maker is. So it's not all about that. You got to think out a little bit differently. It's not all about LinkedIn.
That's old school Dale Carnegie right there,
exactly.
Chris.
It is, yeah. It's very true.
Winning friends and influencing people. That's an old sales book if you've never heard of it. But make the secretary your friend, is what he used to say.
Yeah.
Is very helpful. First of all, it's just good manners and good common courtesy to be nice to anybody that you're dealing with. But if you're being nice with the gatekeeper, then the gatekeeper, they are exactly that. They have the chance to say, hey, yeah, you should talk to my boss.
Exactly.
Or nope, they're too busy.
I'll put it another way. If you're not being nice to the gatekeeper, then the gate is going to get a lot taller.
Closed, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
But when the way they introduce you to the boss to say, oh, yeah, I talked to this guy. He sounds really good. That's a whole different starting point.
Exactly.
When you're talking to the decision maker.
Exactly.
Then I don't know this guy. He keeps bugging me. You might want to talk to him. So shut up. Right?
Exactly. Exactly. And once you get that decision maker's contact, right, you understand your value, write a great email. Show that you spent time little doing research on them. Show that you're willing to spend time on them, because once they realize that it's not a copying and paste template, and a lot of these decision makers can tell these days. I interviewed a Renaissance Hotel marketing director in Phuket for my mentor program. I do these behind the scenes interviews with, and she said to me straight up, I rejected 2 creators before you because they had the same email template. I'm like, what? Yeah. So they probably came from the same academy or something, and they're just copying and pasting, hoping they can get work. But there's no academy. There's no one ultimate email template that's going to let you get paid and land consistent projects. It's all about consistency for me.
What about long-term relationships, Chris? Do you work with any of your brand partners long-term?
Yeah. A lot of the relationships that I keep, just like tourism boards. When I was living in Thailand, once I landed the project with them by going face to face with them, showing up to their doorstep and pitching myself. And ever since that day, I've had the best relationship with them for 3 years until I left. I first off got a 6-month paid project with them right when I walked out of their door that day. And they just kept the relationship going. A lot of the times, yeah, you want to keep the relationships going. A lot of these marketing directors will go to a new hotel after each year. You know, they don't really stay for that long. They'll go to a brand new hotel year after year.
Well, it's the way in the hotel business, for people who don't know, is that's how you get promoted in the hotel business. You hotel hop, right? And you get a promotion at the next place, and you can even come back to the place you left. But
exactly,
it's hard to get hired up the chain in the hotel business. So people will change. If you ever go to Las Vegas, you know, people in the Las Vegas hotel industry, they're all hopping around hotels constantly.
Yep.
So yeah, you can maintain that relationship.
It's very important
into their next job.
Yeah. And you got to keep maintaining it. You never know who they know. It always happens, especially when I was living in Thailand. Oh, I know this hotel, in this province. Like, you want to visit? Yes, I'd love to visit. Oh, I know this person. It always happens. So relationship management's really important, not just the sales up in the front end, but managing, maintaining, setting the right expectations, continuing to do that to be able to keep that relationship going.
You said a magic word, relationship management. Do you use any CRM software?
That's what I teach my students. I use a CRM.
What do you use?
HubSpot.
HubSpot, which is great. Inbound marketing, CRM software. Yeah.
Maybe we should just explain for the people who don't know what CRM is.
Customer relationship management. It manages all the customers. If you have a business that comes in, you could see a full sales pipeline, the full process in the sales pipeline, all the way to close, and it continues to manage the relationship.
Yeah.
It's funny because the last 9-to-5 job that I had, I sold a CRM. It was after 4 months traveling the world. I realized what I wanted to do. After I quit LinkedIn, I traveled the world for 4 months. I figured out I wanted to make videos and do this, but I needed to save my money and learn it and really learn it. Went back to a desk job. Insightly, I got a job selling CRMs. The funny part is they didn't even let me use their own CRM for my own travel business. They're like, "Oh, sorry, we can't let you." So secretly, while I was selling Insightly, I was using HubSpot to maintain my own business.
So if you're a creator and you don't know what CRM is, you should. Okay, so if you're selling any kind of thing, you should know what customer relationship management software is. I've been geeky about that for 30 years. Because it's so helpful. You know, old school days, people used to maintain files like doctor's office files.
So you're saying the spreadsheet that I use is not good enough? I can do better?
It's better than nothing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But to maintain all the information of a customer, their email, their phone number, their social media handles, you know, have all those things linked. And then all the conversations that you have with them, all the communication that you have with them. When I send you an email, it's tracking that. And I can see how you replied.
Yes.
And then I said, hey, we had a phone call or we had a Zoom meeting. And I know, 3 years ago, they told me they were doing some redevelopment and now would be a good time to follow up. Reminds me and I follow up.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
It helps you work a lot smarter instead of just working so hard.
you can't remember everything.
Exactly.
Keep track of people's birthdays or their wives and kids' birthdays.
Yeah.
CRM can do all of that for you if you want.
Absolutely.
And by the way, he has a dog called Fluffy. Stuff like that.
Exactly.
This is not your first TBEX.
Second. Yep.
Second, what are your thoughts about the community and the conference? And
I love it. You see the same people, which is great. So you start building relationships, and that's what is fun around here. The thing I also really love is destinations. It's always at awesome destinations. Greece. I was at the one in Phuket. That was my first one. I was
your
living
home
in
base,
Thailand.
right?
That was my home base, and I loved it. And just hearing from all the other writers and creators all about all the other TBEXs at all the incredible locations you guys go to. It seems like one big travel family, which is fun.
The other thing I noticed with you in particular, Chris, yes, it's one big travel family, but
Yep,
then
yep.
there's subgroups within our family, right?
Yep.
I noticed you and Martin talking quite a bit, and
Yep,
you're
yep.
talking to JJ, and you're talking to Gerald and John, other video guys here,
Yep.
right? Because you have things in common.
Exactly. I knew a lot of them also away from TBEX, just from, we were all in the same thing, like you said, things in common. I knew Martin from YouTube. We communicated outside and everything, and I just met JJ, and he's an incredible creator also, but yeah, it's awesome to be able to meet likewise individual and that you can relate to, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. And people who understand what it is that you do.
Exactly.
Right? You don't have to explain, like, you're a YouTuber. How do you make money on YouTube?
Exactly.
Chris, thank you so much for supporting TBEX, first of all,
course.
and for a great talk this morning and for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate it.
thank you so much.
Of course, thank you guys so much for having me. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Travel Matters, the official podcast of TBEX. This episode of Travel Matters was hosted by TBEX CEO Rick Calvert and Radio Vagabond Palabo and produced by radioguru.co.uk. See more about upcoming TBEX events on tbexcon.com. You can follow Palabo on theradiovagabond.com.